Yeah. Yeah. What's up? My name's Christian Brown. Today, we're going to be talking about The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. Bam! Chapter 6, You Are What You Think You Are. This chapter is all about appearance. And I'm not just talking about what you look like and how that is your appearance. I'm talking about how what you're wearing and what you look like affects how you think, and how what you think affects what you look like. Because they actually go hand in hand. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works and how you can use it to your advantage. Let's get started off by thinking about how people say hi to you sometimes, right? There's those people who, when you walk up to them, you say like, hey buddy, or hey Mac. And then there's those guys where you walk up and you're like, hey sir, yes sir. What's the difference, right? Why is it that one guy just gets the hey buddy treatment and the other guy gets the hello sir treatment? It has to do with what you're thinking. That's what it really boils down to. You'll notice that the successful people tend to get the hello sir, and the not so successful people that aren't doing so well in life generally tend to get the oh hey buddy. Why is this? It's because others see in us what we see in ourselves. So if you feel inferior, then what's going to show and what people see and perceive is that you feel inferior. So those successful people, they know they're the shit, right? So they're walking around like, yeah, life is good. I love this. Everything's awesome. And you can see it in them when you look at them. So when you walk up, you say, hey sir, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. And when you walk up to that guy who you know is inferior and not feeling good, right? He's always got this complex in his head. You're kind of like, oh, hey bro, what's up, dude? What does that really boil down to, though? It boils down to the fact that thinking regulates how we act. So like I just said, if a man feels inferior, it's going to come out in the way he acts. And no amount of cover up or bluff will really be able to get around that for a long time. Why does this matter to us? This matters to us because your thinking determines how other people are going to perceive you. Right? In order to look important, you first have to feel important. You have to really believe, I am important. And second of all, if you want to, be respected, if you want any of these things that are good, that make someone look good and valuable, you have to believe them first. You have to believe that you have respect and people should respect you. Then people truly will respect you. David puts this in a perfect way. He says, how you think determines how you act, and how you act in turn determines how others react to you. It's important that you remember that appearance talks. Never leave home without looking like the person you want to be perceived as. David talks how in an ad for dressing right, a policeman says, you can usually spot a wrong kid just by the way he looks. Sure, it's unfair, but it's a fact. People today judge a youngster by appearance. And once they've tabbed a boy, it's tough to change their minds about him, their attitude towards him. Just look at your boy. Look at him through his teacher's eyes, your neighbor's eyes. Could the way he looks, the clothes he wears, give them the wrong impression? Are you making sure he looks right, dresses right, everywhere he goes? If we turn this into the adult version, it's simply look at yourself through your superior's eyes, through your associate's eyes, through your coworker's eyes, right? Don't just think about how you look in the morning. Think about how others are going to perceive you based on what you're wearing. Make no mistake about it. Your physical exterior affects your mental interior. David has this great story where he's talking about his kid who really loved the Lone Ranger and he wanted to be the Lone Ranger. And he kept, asking his dad, can you buy me this hat? Can you buy me this hat? Blah, blah, blah. And his dad's like, no. And finally, the kid was just like, well, Dad, I won't feel like the Lone Ranger unless I'm wearing the Lone Ranger's hat. And so finally, David relented, went, bought the kid the hat, the kid put it on, and sure enough, he became the Lone Ranger, right? Because he could really dive into it. He felt like he was that guy. And I'm sure most of us have gone through this in life. David talks about how almost everybody goes through a hat phase in their life. And during that hat phase, your hat you really identify with. It turns you into a different person, and that's why you wear your hat. We can go further to prove this, right? Think about like a soldier. If you've known any soldiers in your life, a soldier really feels like a soldier when they're in uniform, right? Same thing goes for executives. When you're wearing a suit, you feel a lot more like being an executive. Or if you're going out to a party or something and you're a woman, until you dress up, a lot of the time you probably don't really feel like going out to party. But once you're dressed up, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the mood, right? How you look and what appearance you give yourself really affects how you think and what you want to do. So now that we've talked a lot about how your appearance really affects how you think and a little bit how others think, let's talk more about how it affects how other people think about you. Right? So your appearance talks to you, but it also talks to others. It helps determine what others think of you. In theory, it's pleasant to think that people should look at a man's intellect and not his clothes, but you can't be misled, right? People do evaluate you on the basis of your appearance. Your appearance is the first basis for evaluation other people have, and first impressions last. Out of all proportion of the time it takes to form them, that first impression is most important. And I have a perfect example of this. Several years ago, I worked for CenturyLink, and I did door-to-door sales selling internet. And you'd be surprised, they had all sorts of organizations with hundreds of people out there doing door-to-door sales selling internet. And every day, we had to show up to work in a suit, guys and girls. And this is important because not only did we get a lot of sales, but think about CenturyLink. CenturyLink's huge. One of the biggest, most successful businesses in the world. It has billions and billions of revenue. And I would venture to guess that probably 50% or more of it has come from suited salespeople going out and getting tons of people rounded up to sell their internet services all over the place. If somebody walks up to your door and they're in a collared shirt, yeah, that might look nice. And if they're in, just a t-shirt or something and they're trying to sell you something, it's going to be really hard to get through. But if somebody walks up to your door and they're in a suit and they greet you with, hello, nice to meet you today, and you can see they're calm and confident and they know what they're talking about and they've got the best internet or best product on the market, you're immediately going to take notice and you're going to listen a lot longer than you would somebody who walks up in rags or a t-shirt and is like, hey, I've got the best product, listen to this. They're going to be like, who the heck are you, kid? Like, dude, get out of here. But a guy in a suit, you're not going to tell him to run away that fast. It's a fact. So your appearance is going to affect how other people think of you extremely. David's got a brilliant example of this simply looking at the supermarket. And he obviously wrote this book a long time ago based on what I'm about to tell you. So there's two sets of grapes you could buy at the supermarket. The first pound of grapes was 15 cents. And next to it, there was another bag of grapes that was 2 pounds, and it was 35 cents. And David was a little bit baffled, right? If any of you understand how these things usually work, if you buy more of something, you ought to get a discount, but it was 5 cents more. So he went and talked to the clerk there over at the weigh station. He said, so what's the difference between these grapes and these grapes? And the boy simply said, well, polyethylene bags. So something even as simple and mundane as grapes, you could sell them more just because they were packaged nicely. So think about that for yourself the next time you're out, or you're going to an interview, or you're going to an event with friends or important people. How you're packaged really affects how people are going to see you. And how you package yourself can allow you to sell yourself for more, even if you're not even providing anymore. The polyethylene bags, they didn't really do anything. They just made the grapes look better. And so the grapes sold for more. Actually, I'd love to bring up another great example that I've known for years. If you're ever trying to sell a car, give it a car wash before you sell it. It's something ridiculous like 5-10% or more of the value of the car you'll get just out of a car wash. So if you were going to go and sell your car for 10 grand and you get a car wash, you can almost guarantee you're going to get 11 or 12 grand out of it because it looks gorgeous. And if it's really dirty, you're probably going to lose $1,000 or $2,000. You got to package things the right way. We know that a person's appearance definitely talks, right? The well-dressed person's appearance says positive things. It tells people, here's an important person, intelligent, prosperous, and dependable. This man can be looked up to, admired, trusted. He respects himself, and I respect him. The shabby-looking fellow's appearance says negative things. Here is a person who isn't doing well, right? He's careless, he's inefficient, unimportant. He's just an average person. He deserves no special consideration. He's used to being pushed around. As awful as that sounds, it's honestly the truth, and we should all take note of this. Try to look your best all the time. It'll pay dividends. Lastly, if you're thinking about the fact that it might be hard to look nice all the time because nice clothes are expensive, David has a very simple rule, which I believe ever since I read this book a couple years ago, it has absolutely panned out and been true. And that is simply buy half as much, but spend twice as much on everything that you buy. Typically, you'll find that quality over quantity ends up being much better for you in the long run. Quality clothes that cost twice as much typically last more than twice as long, and they also stay quality and stay nice looking more than twice as long. So you'll end up having better clothes that look nicer, that last longer, and you'll end up saving money in the long run and looking better. He talks about how you'll definitely just get better advice as well, right? The sales guy who's selling you $1,000 suit is gonna take a lot more effort and spend a lot more time helping you get the suit that fits just right and looks just right than the salesperson who's selling you a $500 suit. So let's wrap this up. Always remember that your appearance talks to you and your appearance talks to others. Make sure it says, I have self-respect. I'm important, right? Treat me the way I look. Lastly, as the title states, you are what you think you are. If your appearance makes you think you're inferior, you're inferior. If your appearance makes you look small, you are small. Look your best, and you will think and act your best. Thank you so much. Super appreciate all you guys watching. Please subscribe, share, comment. Thank you so much. And as always, whatever you're going to do, make it happen now.